This video was produced by the Top Cut. Be sure to check out thetopcut.net, your home for Pokemon TCG tournament coverage, professional game analysis, and interviews with the best players in the world. Thanks for watching. Okay guys, welcome back to Game 2 from the Ohio State Championship, the finals. And Dustin on the right was the winner of the first game, and Joey ended up losing. So in this best 2 out of 3 series, he will decide who goes first in the second game, and of course, he will go first. So he has his preferred starter with Celebi Prime. This will allow him to have some energy acceleration right off the bat with Forest Breath. Unfortunately, he does not have any targets at this point. He does have a dual ball, so if he were to flip at least one heads here, he could grab a Pokemon, and there's one heads. It looks like two heads. Okay. Those weird dice always throw me off. You never know which one is the 1 or the 6. So, looks like Joey will be grabbing 2 Pokemon here right off the bat, and he'll have that opportunity to get that crucial first Hurricane. But the interesting thing here is that even though he could get the first Hurricane off, he might not get the first prize. Even though he can do 80 damage on the first turn, that won't be a knockout because all of Dustin's Pokemon have 110 hit points. So no matter what, looks like, oh, we have a big turn here from Joey. So no matter what, he won't be able to take a prize this turn. And if Dustin can manage to pull off some crazy turn where he gets a Celebi and then a Grass and a Double Colorless and a Switch and a Sky Arrow Bridge and then catches out a Celebi, he could still take the first prize this game. But the way things are going, I think Joey definitely has the advantage. He just looks like he has the better start this game. He's going first. Once again, it's just going to come down to, hey, do I draw a Double Colorless off my Oak's New Theory? And we will find out when he gets these 6 cards. And this game, the answer happens to be yes. So things going well for Joey this game. He slams his hand down, I'm not sure why. But okay, he does get it. And then he gets another Tornadus, so this is perfect. I actually wanted to question why he got a second Celebi with his dual ball. He certainly would have preferred getting a second Tornadus just so he could get energy onto it. Maybe he wanted to have a backup Celebi just in case to use a second Forest Breath. I don't really know what the deal was with that, but I don't think that was the right move. He should have grabbed the second Tornadus in the first place, but it ends up not mattering, so okay. Now Dustin, he puts a Double Colorless onto his bench Tornadus. He's going to draw 7 cards, and he's going to dual ball, so here is a heads and another heads. So if he has a Switch and a Grass, he could get that first turn Hurricane as well. Let's see what he grabs. I believe he's going to grab Regigigas as well. I did not see the Switch in his hand though, so I don't think we'll see a Hurricane this turn. Does grab Celebi, and let's see what else he will take. He does get 2 basics. Both players flipping very well on their dual balls. Not bad when the trainer card gets you 2 basic Pokemon, and it's not even a supporter. Looks like he's gonna grab another Tornadus. He is not going for Regigigas this game. I don't know what his plan is going to be. I do not believe he has a Switch in his hand. And oh, I am incorrect. So he's going to have that Switch. And does he have a catcher as well? This would be an absolutely insane first turn. I don't see a catcher though. Still, it was pretty unlikely that Dustin pulls off this first turn Hurricane, but he managed to do it anyway. So right now, Joey obviously just has the advantage based on going first. He was the first one to attack, so he has the advantage at this point. Looks like Dustin is getting his Celebi catchered, and all Joey has is Bianca, which will draw him 3 cards, I think. And he needs an energy Otherwise, this advantage will slowly fade away, actually quickly. But he does draw that grass, so he's going to pick on that poor defenseless Celebi Prime, which has 60 hit points, and Hurricane, and get a knockout there. And Joey will be ahead by a prize. And really, he's just going to have the complete advantage this game. He's going to be doing exactly everything. Let me put this another way. Dustin will be doing exactly everything that Joey's doing, but Joey will just be doing it first. So Joey's just going to be at an advantage the entire game. So we see Joey takes the first prize, and let's see, Dustin is just going to copy what Joey's doing. He's going to Hurricane and get a knockout. And then really we're just going to see Joey win because he's ahead by a prize when the game eventually finishes. And that's kind of silly when you think about it. So right now, Dustin will play another Juniper. He sends up that Tornadus, and we may see a catcher on Celebi. We might just see a Hurricane. We definitely do see a dual ball here, though. So here's one heads and two heads. Now, the disadvantage for Joey is that he did bench that second Celebi Prime. Now, this is going to be a target for Pokemon Catcher as the game progresses, and both players are looking to get their last prizes here. When you look at it, Dustin's field is actually slightly better because he does not have those Celebi Primes on the field, whereas Joey has two targets there eventually. Now, he does have a Seeker in his hand, so there is an opportunity for him to pick one of those up off his field, and then we'll be back at completely even all over again. But for the time being, having the Celebi out there, both of them are going to be a real liability. Dustin just deciding what to take from his dual ball. Looks like he got two more heads, so things going quite well. And grabs Regigigas EX and another Celebi Prime. And he will bench both of them. So I take back what I said. The advantage that Dustin did have in terms of his field is now gone. Now, of course, you do need Celebi for energy acceleration, but it will be a liability as the game goes on. And we'll see if benching that Celebi screws Justin's endgame up. Or, sorry, I said Justin. I meant Dustin. Still thinking about Justin Young from the top 4 match. They confused me once and for all. So, now Joey, I believe he'll go for a catcher this turn if he has one. But this is going to be a big turn, whether or not Joey can get a second Tornadus onto his field. He does have a Mewtwo in his hand, but as we saw last game, you really don't want to put down Mewtwo if you don't have to. He's going to Junk Arm and discard 2 Celebi Primes. There's $20 in the discard pile. And he does get that catcher back. He's going to go for Celebi once again, going with the theme of taking cheap prizes, and he puts down Mewtwo. Not sure I like that so much, but he's not a fan of not having a place to put energy, I suppose. He's going to Hurricane, move the energy onto Mewtwo. Once again, he's opened himself up to starting a Mewtwo war here, which is not good considering he has a pretty small hand. No supporters besides that Seeker, and it's really not looking good. If Dustin could drop a Mewtwo and then a Shaman, then Celebration win to move energy onto his Mewtwo and catcher out Joey's Mewtwo, kind of like what happened last game. Dustin could take the prize lead and really never look back. So right now, Dustin has another catcher, and he's going to power up his Regigigas. Oh yeah, he says, actually I wanted that Celebi, sorry. He's going to power up Regigigas, which actually is fairly solid against Mewtwo, just because it has 180 hit points. And he's going to Juniper away all of those cards. That is quite questionable move. There's a lot of resources wasted on that Juniper. He really wanted Eviolite, but I don't know if that was worth it or not. He had an Oak's New Theory in that hand, as well as an N. Really, either one of those would have been okay if you're trying to find Eviolite. This is not a life or death situation to find this Eviolite, I don't think. Right now it has 3 energy, which, let's see, that's 60 damage right off the bat from Mewtwo's X-Ball. But, Joey's got 3 energy. I mean, if he had a perfect hand, sure, he might have been able to knock out Regigigas, but he's got 2 cards and he didn't play a supporter the previous turn, so I don't think he needed to go all out just to find this Eviolite. And here we have an N, and alright, so we are going to see what Joey draws. So maybe Joey sends up his Mewtwo, then Dustin might not have one of his own. But what this Regigigas will do is serve as a wall for the time being. Basically, Joey won't be able to really take a prize this turn. And if he does, he's not really dealing with the Regigigas. There's nothing in his deck that can take it down. That's kind of the point. And wow, he might not have an energy this turn. And that means he won't be able to attack for damage this turn, which is going to give Dustin the opportunity he needs to come back in this game. He was behind for pretty much this entire game. Both players were kind of mirroring each other in this mirror match, and Dustin kind of threw a wrench in the plans by throwing out Regigigas, changing the pace a little bit, and he was hoping something would happen off of that, but the big thing that happened was Joey missed his energy for the turn, and now he's really got nothing to work with. He doesn't want to leave Celebi up there. That'll just be a free prize. So you might have to retreat to Tornadus and just use Energy Wheel. That might be his best option here. I really don't know what else he can do here. I guess he's going to pass. Just leave Celebi in the active spot. But no, he's going to decide to retreat. And does he want to use Energy Wheel or not? He will. Okay. So now all of that energy is on the Tornadus, and it will be Dustin's turn. So where do we go from here? Now Dustin does have that Regigigas EX. It's 180 hit points. It's going to be a big tank that it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Joey certainly does not have enough energy in play to move it onto Mewtwo and knock out that Regigigas in one hit. And Dustin really, I mean, what does he have? He's got a bunch of attackers ready to go. Joey does not, and they are tied right now, so maybe Dustin just decides to catcher this turn and take the free prize on the Celebi. And yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. So both these players getting a little reckless, just benching down Celebis. And actually, that's the one Joey had out from earlier, which I said could potentially harm him later on in the game. And it looks like Dustin decided to put down another Celebi. I think he revived for it. So really, this Celebi is just going to be a liability later. If you look at it, Dustin has a Tornadus with 80 on it. That Celebi, which can be catchered as well. Looks like he's playing another Juniper. Dustin's a big fan of Juniper. He has drawn through quite a bit of his deck at this point, which is kind of scary. He might be running out of resources sometime soon. Could be very vulnerable to N as the game progresses, especially when you get down to 1-2 cards. The one thing he has going for him is he has a ton of energy in play, and he should be able to have attackers even if Joey plays an N. But now, how is Joey going to respond here? I think what he's got to try to do is just catcher grab a Tornadus, knock it out. Catcher, grab the Celebi, knock it out. And then try to get enough energy into play where he can get one huge X-Ball and knock out this Regigigas and take his last 2 prizes. If he can manage to do that, that'll be his game plan for winning. And I think he can pull it off. So he will use Pokegear. Let's see what he manages to get off of this. He gets a Juniper, but there's already one in his hand, so he does not want to take that, I don't think. So yep, he's just going to shuffle those back into his deck. No use taking a Juniper when, to play it, you would have to discard your second Juniper, which of course takes away a supporter you would have later. There is a catcher in Joey's hand right now, so he probably wants to use that this turn. Gonna go ahead with Dual Ball. We got, let's see, there's at least one heads. I didn't see what the first flip was. Now we do see there's the Shaman EX in Joey's deck as well, so maybe at the end he could pull off something crazy with Shaman EX and a couple plus powers and hit that Regigigas for the final 2 prizes. That is something else he could do. But that's a long ways away. Joey really needs to get 2 catchers and then go for the miracle knockout on the Regigigas eventually. So he's going to grab Tornadus with his Dual Ball. I like that decision. He needs a couple Tornadus here. He could kind of Hurricane, move the energy to that Tornadus. And then next turn retreat and hope Dustin doesn't have an energy. Really this game's going to come down to a lot of catchers. And here is the first one. Celebi coming out. And Joey plays a Juniper. It's good. He needs to get an energy attachment this turn. Probably onto Tornadus. So he does have that grass. Should probably put that onto Tornadus, and then we'll go from there. Looks like you got a pretty solid hand overall. And Joey's not out of this yet. He actually decides to put it on Mewtwo. I really don't like that one. We saw why I don't like that one in the previous game where Dustin just catchered out his Mewtwo with energy, and really that was the end of the game. But this is a different game. Maybe that won't end up mattering. Now Dustin does have his own Tornadus. He has his Regigigas. The problem is here that Dustin has nothing he can knock out in one hit, unless he were to bench his own Mewtwo and then use Shaman EX to move, or Shaman Celebration Wind to move all the energy onto his own Mewtwo, and then maybe catcher out Joey's Mewtwo and X-Ball, and then Dustin would be down to 1 prize. The problem is he's at an awkward situation in terms of prizes, and in the fact that he can't really knock out anything of Joey's without committing a bunch of resources to Shaman and Mewtwo. And then if he does do all that, he is very vulnerable to N. Dustin cannot bench 2 Mewtwo's and a Shaman in advance because his bench is full at that point. So really Dustin's going to be really vulnerable to N, which is not good. If Joey manages to have one, that would put Dustin down to 1 prize, and that's no good. So now we're going to see what Dustin decides to do. This is a very tricky situation. The one thing he did that I really don't like is he put down another Celebi. That's just going to be more catcher targets for him. As I said, this game most likely will come down to Pokemon catchers who has the most, and Dustin keeps playing into that by benching more basics that are easily picked off by Pokemon catcher and then Hurricane. And he's kind of playing into the fact that Joey could pull off this big play at the end of the game with Shaman Celebration Wind, moving all of his energy onto a Mewtwo and then getting a last prize at X-Ball. I really don't like that, but I don't know if Dustin can do anything about it at this point. He's already put down the Celebi, and the Tornadus has 80 on it on the bench. But now he's going to set up Regigigas. And Giga Power for 80 damage. He takes no self-damage because of the Eviolite. And if I'm Joey, I'm feeling pretty good about my spot. I don't know what Dustin can really do to hurt me too much anymore. And I mean, I guess Joey needs a catcher this turn. So we're going to see whether or not he has one of those. He certainly does in his hand. He has a junk arm, so he's just got to decide which cards he wants to get rid of. He has that Shaman EX in his hand and a Mewtwo EX. There's already 2 Mewtwo's on his field, so I don't think he's going to need a third one. So there we go. He junk arms away the full art Mewtwo. Catchers out Celebi Prime. And I think we'll just see him retreat to the other Tornadus and put down, yep, that double colorless energy. There we go. And okay. I'm going to see a Hurricane for a knockout. And hopefully Joey moves. Yep, okay. So now we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 energy on Joey's field. This is a good amount of energy. Now Dustin, if he has a catcher, he can eliminate 2 of those energy by catchering out that Tornadus on the bench and knocking it out. That would leave just 4 energy on Joey's field. The big thing we're going to have to look out for is that Regigigas EX, which has the 3 energy on it right now. Gives up 2 prizes, and of course Joey only has 2 prizes, so this will be the big point of contention. Can Joey manage to knock out that Regigigas EX and get his final 2 prizes? This is going to be really, really close. Pokemon Catcher certainly is defining this matchup. The player who's... I mean, if either player just missed Pokemon Catcher, then they would end up losing completely. And Dustin actually discards an N. I don't know if I like that. Unless he has another one in his hand. Certainly would have wanted to use that this turn. But actually doesn't play an energy either, I don't think. And he uses Hurricane, moves the energy onto his Regigigas EX. This is extremely risky. Now there's 4 energy on that Regigigas EX. There's 4 in play for Joey. If Joey has a Shaman and a double colorless and a catcher, he can actually win this game outright. And that is bad news for Dustin. Now, actually, he has 2 plus powers in his hand as well, so I think Joey might go for the power play here. He might just go for the win. And if you're him, why not? You will just see that Regigigas has got 4 energy on it. We'll get catchered out here. And will Joey have all the cards necessary to pull this off? We see 2 plus powers. And that means that's 20 extra damage. That's going to cancel out that Eviolite. And there is the Juniper. He is going for that Shaman and an energy. If he draws it, he'll move all his energy onto Mewtwo EX, and he will win this game in very flashy fashion. So I don't see it in his hand straight away, but he does have a junk arm. He'll be able to go for Dual Ball. Just going to discard that Sky Arrow Bridge. And looks like Bianca as well. He's going to go for that Reverse Hollow Dual Ball. Old school version. And here we go. There is 1 heads. And really that's the only one he needed. If the Shaman is in his deck, he'll win this game. And there it is. He's just got to grab it. He's just going to take his time to make sure he can win this game. And that was actually the only basic left in his deck. He grabs the Shaman, and Dustin got to be shaking his head now, wondering why in the world did I put that energy onto Regigigas EX and allow this to happen. And we're going to just see Celebration Wind. All the energy is going to go onto Mewtwo. There we go. So that is 4 on Mewtwo. The 5th one is being put down. There's 4 on Dustin. 2 plus powers cancel out the Eviolite. That is exactly 180 damage. X-Ball will take out Regigigas EX. An unlikely move to finish out the game, but Joey, he's in the finals for a reason, takes down Dustin in Game 2, and we will go to a pivotal Game 3 to see who becomes the Ohio State champion in this Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus mirror match. What a close game between these two guys. Hope you guys are having fun watching these games, and we'll be back with a third one coming up next.